whenever you perform the Wipe Me Down remix, when it's time for the just left New York City hooked up with P. Diddy, that is no longer wrapped in your performances.
Nah, I skipped that.
You skipped that part. Now, if I was a woman, I understand.
Now, if I done heard something about who calling me, that's a whole different thing.
Okay, so
Columbus Short heard something.
Okay.
That's probably why he was like, by myself.
Like, all the champagne was spiked. Everybody was passed the fuck out. I don't drink. Diddy had that man in the room. Look, yes, I put my ear to the door and I brought the phone because Diddy started going in overdrive. I ain't know what the was going on, but I just heard balls slapping against cheeks.
Seems like Lil Boosie's the newest addition to Diddy's list of people caught up in his mess. It's no longer news that Diddy's in a hot mess right now. The guy's been hit with a string of lawsuits, his homes have been raided, and there's talk of investigations looming over him. And it seems like the storm isn't letting up anytime soon. More folks are stepping forward, airing their grievances in the media, adding to Diddy's headache. Take Lil Boosie, for instance. He recently spilled some tea during an interview with DJ Vlad. Apparently, whenever Boosie performs his track Wipe Me Down remix, he conveniently skips over the part where he mentions Diddy's name. You know, the line about hooking up with P. Diddy in New York City? Yeah, that one. Boosie's got his reasons, and it's not just because of the legal mess swirling around Diddy. It's like a silent nod to the fact that associating with Diddy has taken on a whole new meaning these days.
Whenever you perform the Wipe Me Down remix, when it's time for the just left New York City hooked up with P. Diddy, that is no longer wrapped in your performances.
Nah, I skipped that.
You skipped that part.
But what really raised eyebrows during the interview was Boosie's demeanor. While Vlad was chuckling away, Boosie was dead serious. Some folks are speculating that maybe Boosie's got his own tale to tell about Diddy, and that moment in the interview might have been him reliving it.
Most recently, a man has filed a lawsuit against P. Diddy, claiming all types of insane shit.
Then there's this whole debate about whether it's normal for moguls like Diddy to call folks up at 2 a.m. and invite them to their hotel rooms. Vlad seems to think it's no big deal, even comparing it to a hypothetical meeting with Jay-Z. But Boosie wasn't having it. He was spooked, to say the least. And folks are wondering if maybe Boosie's got his own reasons for feeling that way.
Come by my room. He goes, oh, who over there? Oh, it's just me. Now, to me, this doesn't seem all that weird.
Yes, it is.
What?
And obviously it's weird because he probably heard something.
As the interview unfolds, Boosie eventually comes around to agreeing with Vlad, but he's still got his reservations. Sure, Diddy's a big shot in the business world, but Boosie's not about to ignore his gut feeling. He reckons that if someone like Columbus Short was hesitant about meeting Diddy late at night, there might be something to it.
Now, if I was a woman, I understand.
Now, if I done heard something about who calling me, that's a whole different thing.
Okay, so
Columbus Short heard something.
Okay.
That's probably why he was like, by myself.
For those of you who don't know, Columbus Short recently shared a video claiming Diddy tried to get him to come to his hotel room at 3 a.m. In a video, he straight up said Diddy tried to pull him into a late-night hotel room situation at 3 a.m. Columbus wasn't about to keep quiet about it either. He's like, I'm snitching in the kitchen. Columbus shared the story saying he got a random call from Diddy in the middle of the night when he was still married. Diddy was all, why weren't you at the BT Awards? Columbus, being a married man and all, was like, I'm in bed with my wife, man. Diddy, unfazed, dropped the bomb that he was at the Beverly Hills Hotel, just chilling solo. Also, during the interview, Lil Boosie also touched on Cassie's situation. He mentioned how, considering everything she claimed Diddy did, it's tough to say whether she's genuinely traumatized or if she's into it all.
Either she was traumatized by what she been through. Either she was traumatized, she was sick and hurt. She loved every minute of it.
Boosie brought up how some women are into a bit of roughness from their partners, and ultimately, only Cassie can shed light on how she truly feels about it.
Some women like to go off and they man come back and get them. They love every minute of it, Vlad. But you can be terrorized from that also. She could have loved every minute of it, and she could have hated every minute of it. Only person knows is Cassie.
Now, some folks agreed with Boosie's take, but when it comes to Cassie, others argue she was clearly traumatized. I mean, even just reading the details from the lawsuit is enough to make your skin crawl, let alone experiencing it firsthand. But then again, who really knows what someone's going through except for that person themselves? And here's where it gets interesting. Some are speculating that maybe Boosie's speaking from his own experiences with Diddy. After all, there have been whispers in the industry about Diddy's inappropriate behavior towards men, and there's even talk that he might have crossed some lines with some of them. For instance, in Lil Rod's lawsuit, he exposed Meek Mill and Usher as one of the people that often came to these freak-offs. Rodney didn't explicitly mention Meek Mill and Usher's names in the lawsuit like he did with everybody else, but he gave some descriptions that had very specific details that pretty much made everybody know who he was talking about. Like, he described Meek as a rapper who dated Nicki Minaj and described Usher as a male R&B singer who performed at the Super Bowl and had a successful Vegas residency.
Mr. Combs informed Mr. Jones that he had engaged in sexual intercourse with rapper. 5, that's redacted. Look, 5, he's a rapper who dated Nicki Minaj. Meek Mill, like, come on, bro, like, what the And then the next person, R&B singer. 6, redacted. Look, he performed at the Super Bowl and had a successful Vegas residency. Usher!
Now, I'm sure you all know Meek is definitely a rapper from Philadelphia who dated Nicki from 2015 to 2017. Usher also just had a very successful Vegas residency, which reportedly grossed over $100 million, and he did in fact perform at the Super Bowl a couple weeks ago. Anyway, going back to Rodney's lawsuit, he claimed that he witnessed Usher and Diddy hooking up several times and making out with the girls that Young Miami and Justin would bring for him. Rodney recalled the time where they were partying on Diddy's yacht, and he saw both Meek and Usher messing with several girls. Now, when this news hit, Meek went into overdrive on social media, firing off tweets left and right in a frantic attempt to clear his name. But let's just say the online community wasn't exactly buying what he was selling. He also got into a huge Twitter feud with DJ Academics, who was only reporting on the news. Like, imagine attacking somebody who's just doing his job. One of his tweets said, "I'm from Philly. I don't do coke or freaky ass Molly. Nobody won't even offer me coke because I'm that heavy. No man or what would ever approach me about gay activity, and the whole place don't get flipped. Woke up seeing this on every blog like they know I'm coming lol." Things quieted down for a bit, with folks realizing that Meek seemed to be on the edge of a mental breakdown, and nobody wanted to push him further. That is, until Diddy's ex-bodyguard dropped a bombshell, an audio clip allegedly featuring Meek and Diddy. The shockwaves were palpable. I mean, the voices on that recording, pretty darn close to Meek and Diddy. And the content, let's just say it wasn't easy listening. Meek's screams, reportedly in serious distress, sent shivers down the spine of anyone who heard it. Trigger warning, this audio is very disturbing and very sensitive. Now, the ex-bodyguard in question who recorded and leaked the audio made an entire video narrating how it came out. He said it happened during one of Diddy's freak-offs, and he decided to lean by the door to record what he was hearing because he was shocked to see Meek allowing Diddy to pound him like this. He said Diddy intentionally spiked everybody's drinks at that party so they would be too drunk and too high to even know what's going on. But he didn't drink, and that's why he was sober enough to witness what he and Meek were doing.
Like, all the champagne was spiked. Everybody was passed the out. I don't drink. Diddy had that man in the room. Look, yes, I put my ear to the door and I brought the phone because Diddy started going in overdrive. I ain't know what the was going on, but I just heard balls slapping against cheeks.
I mean, do you all remember that video circulating where Meek was chilling in the pool, looking a bit, well, uncomfortable while Diddy hovered nearby, calling him daddy and talking about Meek putting in work? Yeah, that one. It's hard to forget. Some folks are connecting the dots, suggesting it might have been filmed right after whatever went down between Meek and Diddy in that bedroom.
Man, you doing it, man. You deserve it, daddy. You putting in that work. Proud of you. I love you. Yeah.
And to make matters even worse, Meek was caught following a page on Twitter that exclusively posts videos of black men hounding each other. Maybe he was trying to learn some new positions for Diddy. Who knows? But as soon as people caught him, he immediately unfollowed the page. And if that's not enough to raise eyebrows, there's more. An old song of Meek's surfaced online recently, and the lyrics? Let's just say they paint a pretty vivid picture. In the track, Meek talks about chasing his Hollywood dreams, but there's this whole section where he seems to confess to getting involved with Diddy in some not-so-savory ways to make it big. And then, he's asking for forgiveness for his actions.
I hope they forgive me for what I did with Diddy. Dream chasers. I I hope they forgive me for what I did with Diddy.
It's truly heartbreaking to see the situation unfold, and it's becoming increasingly apparent that Diddy has been taking advantage of Meek for a long time. It seems Meek felt compelled to endure whatever Diddy put him through, perhaps in the hope that it would somehow catapult his career to new heights. But as we can see, that plan clearly backfired. Meek's career has taken a serious hit. He's been dropped from his label, his latest album didn't meet expectations, and now he's facing isolation within the industry as other rappers distance themselves upon learning about his association with Diddy. It's a harsh reality check for Meek, and it's clear that his involvement with Diddy has had far-reaching consequences. Then there's Usher. Back in the 90s, Diddy ran this thing called Puffy Flavor Camp. It was basically a deal for young up-and-coming stars to get some mentorship from him, and the stories these celebs spill about their time in Puffy Flavor Camp are jaw-dropping. One of the kids who got a taste of this flavor camp was Usher. Usher was set to be an R&B sensation from a super young age. He spilled the beans in 2016, telling Howard that he really got a grip on what being famous meant after spending a year living with Puff Daddy when he was just 14. "I got a chance to see some things. I went there to see the lifestyle and I saw it," Usher said during his first Stern Show interview.
We're sending you
New
over
York
to
City.
something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's what it
Camp.
was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In
to
the 90s, do you understand what that's like? But hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you
I
seeing?
went there to see the lifestyle,
Right.
And I saw it, and it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at.
So, Usher's one-of-a-kind learning experience, known as Puffy Flavor Camp, happened because a young Usher wowed music bigwig L.A. Reid with his musical skills. Next thing you know, he's jetting off to New York to crash with Puffy during the golden era of Bad Boy Records, all in the name of getting the real deal scoop on making it big in the music scene. "It was pretty wild. It was crazy," Usher said, while rattling off some of the biggest names in hip-hop who were a constant presence at Puffy's house, including Notorious Big, Lil' Kim, Faith Evans, Mary J. Blige, and Craig Mack. "I was like the little brother. They called me Baby Boo," Usher spilled. But Howard was curious if there were any ground rules for him since, he was just a kid. "He wasn't disciplinary. He was letting me be a young man," Usher shared with Howard. Even though he wasn't hitting the books in a regular school, they had a tutor around. And about that cash flow, Usher said he got a per diem, but just enough to keep him out of too much mischief. When asked if he'd send his kids to Diddy's camp, he was like, "Hell no." So you can imagine just how messy things must have been.
I had like,
What
like
a
living.
life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
Also, there's Sway Lee, who took a trip to the Bahamas with Diddy a few years back. And then there's Justin Bieber, who apparently had some fear vibes going on whenever Diddy was around. And of course, we cannot leave out the most recent lawsuit filed against Diddy by Lil Rod. Among the laundry list of accusations is Diddy allegedly strong-arming Jones into arranging encounters with SEX workers and pressuring him into participating in some seriously unwanted bedroom activities, not just with these workers, but with others too. And if that's not enough to make your jaw hit the floor, Diddy supposedly served up spiked drinks to unsuspecting guests at his swanky parties. According to the lawsuit, there are even screenshots supposedly showing gatherings at Diddy's that included underage girls and more SEX workers. And some of these ladies allegedly had their drinks tampered with at Diddy's direction. This legal bombshell also called out some other names like about Diddy's right-hand woman, Christina Coram, Universal Music Group's CEO, Sir Lucian Grange, and former Motown Records CEO Ethiopia Habtemariam. They're all caught up in this legal whirlwind. Jones says in the lawsuit that Grange, Habtemariam, Motown Records, Love Records, and Universal Music Group effectively worked together with Combs in a RICO enterprise that failed to adequately monitor, warn, or supervise the actions of Combs, his son, and his chief of staff. A RICO enterprise is any individuals or groups that act together to violate the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. And Jones isn't just looking for a slap on the wrist here, he's aiming high, seeking a cool $30 million in damages. But an attorney for Combs is slamming Jones' claims as pure fiction, straight up calling them out as a cheap ploy to grab headlines. "We have overwhelming, indisputable proof that his claims are complete lies. Our attempts to share this proof with Mr. Jones' attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, have been ignored, as Mr. Blackburn refuses to return our calls," the attorney Sean Hawley said in a statement. "We will address these outlandish allegations in court and take all appropriate action against those who make them." Now, according to Jones' lawsuit, he claims that back in August 2022, Diddy himself reached out to him to produce some tunes for the R&B album, The Love Album, Off the Grid, which ended up snagging a Grammy nomination after its release in September 2023. But here's the kicker. Jones says his life took a nosedive after he agreed to work with Diddy. Jones alleges that Combs SEX harassed and aided him while he lived with him at Combs' homes in Florida, Los Angeles, and New York, as well as on a yacht Combs rented in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The harassment in A included constant unsolicited and unauthorized groping and touching of his A, according to the lawsuit. Jones says he was forced to work in Combs' bathroom as Combs showered in a glass enclosure. When he tried to raise the alarm about Diddy's behavior to Christina Coram, Diddy's right-hand woman, Jones claims she brushed it off as just friendly horseplay, stating that those acts were Mr. Combs' way of showing that he likes you. The lawsuit accuses Coram of aiding and abetting Combs' SA of Jones and of working with Combs to G-word him into accepting a homo relationship. Jones also alleges that he was forced to solicit SEX workers and perform SEX acts with them to please Combs. To aid in the alleged recruitment, Jones said, Combs provided him with an exclusive bad boy baseball cap and required him to wear it to a Miami establishment as a signal to any SEX worker he approached that Combs was in town and had sent Jones to recruit them. Jones alleges Combs, whom he describes in the suit as forceful and demanding, and someone who does not take no for an answer, leveraged his power as one of the most influential people in hip-hop and business to intimidate him, including by threatening to inflict bodily harm if Jones did not comply with his demands. On one occasion, Jones alleges, Combs forced him to watch as he displayed guns and bragged about getting away with shooting people. In a separate incident, Jones alleges, Combs shared that he was responsible for a shooting in a nightclub in New York City in 1999 with the rapper Shine, born Jamal Barrow. A jury acquitted Combs of gun possession and bribery charges in connection with that incident, while Barrow was sentenced to 10 years in jail. Jones was terrified of Combs and felt he could not tell him no, according to the suit. Mr. Combs consistently made it clear that he has immense power in the music industry and with law enforcement, the lawsuit says. Jones says in the lawsuit that he has video and audio evidence to support some of the allegations. The lawsuit says that Combs required Jones to record him constantly, and that on several occasions, Combs took Jones's cell phone to record himself. As a result, Jones alleges he has hundreds of hours of video and audio records of Combs, his staff, and his guests engaging in serious illegal activity. Jones says in the suit that he believes Combs also d***ed him on February 2nd, 2023. He alleges he woke up dizzy and confused in bed with Combs and two SEX workers. In response to a request for comment, Jones's attorney Tyrone Blackburn used a Latin phrase, res ipsa loquitur, which loosely translates as the thing speaks for itself, referring to the lawsuit. Jones says in the suit that he was under an implied work-for-hire agreement and was not compensated for the songs he produced on the Love album. As a result, the lawsuit says Combs, Love Records, Motown Records, and Universal Music Group were all unjustly enriched at his expense. Guys, seriously, this lawsuit is off the charts. As we all know that before now, Diddy has been sued by 4 women who have accused him of S.A. Cassie, whose legal name is Cassandra Ventura, said Combs physically aided her and forced her to have SEX with male prostitutes while he got off on it and recorded the encounters. The lawsuit was settled the day after it was filed. The settlement was in no way an admission of wrongdoing, Combs' lawyer Ben Braffman has said. Following Cassie's lawsuit, 2 other women, Liza Gardner and Joey Dickerson Neal, have alleged in lawsuits that Combs S.A.'d them. And a woman identified as Jane Doe in court documents said Combs and 2 other men worded her when she was 17 and Combs was 34. Those 3 cases against Combs are still pending. In a statement in December, he denied the allegations, saying enough is enough, and called the claims against him. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth, he said in the statement. Now, Diddy might just have another lawsuit coming his way from another man. So, an unnamed guy has come forward, accusing Diddy of some serious allegations dating back to 1989. The guy claims he was S.A.'d by Diddy and a friend after an off-campus party at Howard University. The guy says, I know this is random, but my name is blank, and I was S.A.'d by Diddy and a friend of his on April 15th, 1989 in DC. It has taken a lot of strength for me to get to this stage of self-assurance, but I now know I have nothing to be ashamed of. I attended Howard University the same time he was there, and I was taken advantage of after an off-campus party. I will be the first to admit I was inebriated. Diddy noticed I was intoxicated and offered to give me a ride back to my dorm. I trusted him at the time because we were acquainted with one another, because we had economics class together. This man went on to spill some explicit details about how Diddy allegedly lured him into his apartment, where another guy named Lorenzo was waiting. According to the accuser, he was and both of them took turns doing some really inappropriate stuff. Now remember, all of this is just the guy's side of the story, but he's not taking it lightly. He's prepping to sue Diddy, getting all his documents in order, and he's dead set on making Diddy pay for what he says went down that night. It's a serious situation, and he's adamant that it changed him forever. This is all crazy, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and we'll catch you in the next video.